DJI just did something it rarely does. It launched a second-generation product barely a year after the first one hit shelves and fixed the exact complaint everyone had. If you've been sitting on the fence about the original Osmo 360 or wondering whether to jump straight to the sequel, this is everything that changed, what stayed the same, and who should actually spend their money where. The original Osmo 360 dropped in July 2025 as DJI's first real swing at the 360-degree camera market, a category Insta360 has basically owned for years. It came out swinging too. 1-inch equivalent square sensors, native 8K video, 120 megapixel photos, and a genuinely impressive 100 minutes of continuous 8K at 30 FPS recording. On paper, it beat the Insta360 X5 in a few key areas, but it had one glaring problem. The lenses were fixed. On a camera designed to get strapped to helmets, handlebars, and surfboards, a scratched lens meant a repair ticket, not a 5-second fix. That one flaw was the thing every reviewer circled back to. 13 months later, the Osmo 360 showed up, and DJI didn't just patch the lens issue, they timed the whole launch to go head-to-head with Insta360's own new flagship, the X6. This is very clearly a "we heard you" camera. Let's get this out of the way first. If you're expecting a redesign, you won't get one. Same body shape, same square sensor layout, same dimensions, 61 by 36.3 by 81 millimeters, and the same 183-gram weight. DJI clearly nailed the ergonomics the first time around, so they left it alone. Edge: neither camera wins here. They're identical twins on the outside. The changes are all under the hood and in one specific spot on the front. This is the update that actually matters. The original Osmo 360 had permanently fixed lenses. Scratch one on a rock during a mountain bike run, and that's it. You're looking at a repair, not a swap. The Osmo 360 fixes that with a genuine user-replaceable lens system. DJI's also given the glass an ion-sputtered coating that they claim survived 2,000 rubs with steel wool in lab testing without any image degradation. That's a direct response to the Insta360 X6, which shipped its own upgraded swappable lens system just a day before the Osmo 360 launched. Edge: Osmo 360, no contest. If you're an action sports shooter, biking, skiing, anything where your camera takes a beating, this single change might be worth the upgrade on its own. Both cameras shoot native 8K 360-degree video, but the Osmo 360 pushes the ceiling from 8K at 50 frames per second up to 8K at 60 frames per second. That's a 20% jump that matters if you're capturing fast action. Think mountain bike jumps or skiing, where extra frames mean smoother slow motion and less motion blur when you're stitching a 360-degree sphere together. Dynamic range also climbs from 13.5 stops on the original to 14.5 stops on the II, which DJI says roughly doubles its tolerance for tricky, high-contrast lighting. There's also a new AI Super Night 2.0 mode aimed specifically for cleaner, low-light 360-degree footage, plus a jump to 16K time-lapse and support for RAW photos, something the first Osmo 360 never offered. One thing to flag before you get too excited though, single lens video resolution actually drops on the second, from 4K down to 3K. If you regularly use single lens flat mode instead of full 360-degree capture, that's a genuine step back, not an upgrade. Edge: Osmo 360 for anyone shooting primarily in panoramic mode. If single lens flat video is your main use case, the original camera might actually serve you better. The Osmo 360 ships with a 2150 mAh battery, up about 10% from the original's 1950 mAh. More importantly, that battery is now swappable and sold separately, and it's rated for cold weather use down to -20 Celsius. It also charges via 27-watt USB-C, noticeably faster than what the original supports. Here's a nice bonus. The 2's battery bay is backward compatible with older Osmo Action battery packs, so if you're already in DJI's action camera ecosystem, your existing batteries aren't dead weight. Edge, Osmo 362. Swappable batteries alone are a meaningful quality of life upgrade for anyone shooting all day. Both cameras run Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth, but the Osmo 362 adds NFC tap-to-connect pairing. That sounds minor until you're standing on a trailhead trying to get your camera talking to the DJI Mimo app through 3 menus and a Bluetooth handshake. Tap and Go removes that friction entirely. Edge, Osmo 362 for pure convenience. Neither camera has changed much here. Both offer around 105 gigabytes of usable built-in storage plus a micro SD card slot for expansion. If storage capacity is your deciding factor, this one's a wash. Here's where things get messy. The Osmo 362 has only launched officially in China and Hong Kong so far, priced at roughly 3,299 yuan, or about $490 to $499 depending on the market, notably cheaper than Insta360's rival X6. There's no US listing yet, and DJI hasn't announced international pricing or a release date. This isn't unusual for DJI lately. Recent products like the Osmo Pocket 4P and Mic Mini 2S also launched China first, with international rollouts following 6 weeks or so later. If that pattern holds, expect the Osmo 362 to reach other markets before the end of September. But as of this recording, that's an educated guess, not a confirmed date. Meanwhile, the original Osmo 360 is still fully available in the US and other global markets, and it's now discounted following the sequel's launch, dropping from around $549 to as low as $359 in some regions. Should you wait or buy now? If you're in a region where the Osmo 362 is actually available or you're comfortable importing, the swappable lenses and battery alone make it the smarter buy for anyone using this camera outdoors regularly. The 8K 60 bump and better dynamic range are nice to haves on top of that. If you're in the US specifically, the calculus changes. The Osmo 362 has no confirmed US release date, so buying the original Osmo 360 right now at a discounted price gets you 90% of the experience today instead of waiting on an uncertain timeline. If durability and repairability matter to you, you're strapping this to a helmet, a bike, or taking it into rough environments, the Osmo 362 is the clear pick once it's available where you live. The swappable lens system alone solves the original's biggest weakness. If you want a 360 camera today, don't need the frame rate bump, and don't mind fixed lenses, the original Osmo 360 at its new discounted price is still an excellent camera and arguably the better value right now. And if you're someone who shoots mostly single lens flat video rather than full panoramic capture, don't automatically upgrade. Check that 4K ceiling on the 2 before you make the jump, because that's one spec that actually went backward.